Me in there, so red, orange, and yellow.
Yep.
So that means I'm the warmest thing in the video right now. So we're going to be looking for blue and black. I want those to either take shape or to start moving on their own. It is, I think it's like 63 or 64 degrees out here for us ambient, but I do look for 15 plus degree temperature drops, which is what the blue dot is bouncing around the screen. So when I'm watching the video and I go back to the office, I'm looking for that to be right around, what is that, 47 degrees? So
52.
That's 53, like over there.
52.
well, our ambient temperature is going to be, we're going to have glass and windshields that are always going to be colder than the ambient temperature, just because we're going on to the extreme of it being, chillier weather here. So with that, I want, like, if that was our black thing that we're looking for, I would want it to take shape with the head, shoulders, moving arms, and legs. Like, that's what I'm looking for with this.
Okay.
And the blue dot may not always capture, like, hey, we have a full anomaly here. It might actually just capture a very cold spot, say 40 degrees, in a space where it's not supposed to be 40 degrees. Perfect. So just walk slowly with it, because the slower you walk, the easier it is where it won't fall out. So let's kind of see what we can get out of this. I normally get some pretty decent readings out of my EMF. When I start getting those, I'll start explaining what they actually are.
What's considered normal and what's considered...
On this guy?
On this guy.
It depends on each space. Every space is different. I normally look for 2.5 and higher, just because natural EMF goes up to 1.1.
Okay.
Now for this
there's
space,
spots.
this space is average between 18 to 22. I see it on the ground.
57.
Right over there.
So stay right where you're at. I'm going to try to go near it.
There's a thing over
Tell me when
there.
to stop.
More. On the right? On my right side?
There's like something on the ground.
Yeah. Oh. Is that the trash can?
It's a plastic.
Oh, okay, shit.
That's good. That's why we're out here.
Apologies.
So there's a 3-1, 3-5, 7-8. So the average for this, just to kind of give you an idea for this location, is between 18 to 22. That's astronomical for other spaces. But I've gotten it all the way up to 11.7 was the highest I've had so far. I did have a couple in between in front of
3 hours, 8 minutes. Did she die at 38?
No.
Nope.
But I also look at that as March 8th.
No. March, 3 hours and 8 minutes. Yeah, okay.
But you're on the right track. That's how we look at those numbers. Like, did she die at 38? What does that mean?
How about we walk around a little bit?
Yeah, let's just stay away from the one vehicle we have. 48.8.
It's kind of very intense, the soundtrack.
I'm getting 40s back here.
Nice.
It's not working. This is working.
Hold on. You don't listen to it.
Let's say it got up to a 48 back there. So I asked her to come back again. It came back to like a 40. There's a 20.7. Now I'm just looking for anything above 25. So that way
So is that the electricity in there?
Yes, it's the electricity around the device.
Eliza better come. Is that 67?
Eliza!
Oh, that's the temperature.
That's temp down at
Join
the bottom.
us.
Eliza, can you come closer again? I'd like that 40 number or beyond. You know how close you have to get. It's not like we don't do this every night. all this little stuff like that is just natural. So I expect that.
South
No, I
Carolina.
guess you're down in South Carolina.
We read this South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina and Charleston, I don't even bother because you're listening to Charleston radio stations. Anything else you guys heard?
Nah,
Only
that I
bad.
think is
Or
like
bad.
nothing that was
We
that
missed-
clear, or I
we
think
missed
that's
the
relevant.
queue.
What was it?
We missed the queue.
No, I think.
Well, again, it might not always be
Piano.
a direct answer to something. It just might be a direct something that's relevant to her. Normally, if I have a full team of 12, there's like 6 different communication devices,
Yeah.
and they all have different questions.
Company.
Company, I've heard of company.
Okay. Eliza, I brought good company tonight. Oops. We'll give this another minute to see what you guys are getting out of it, but this seems to have died down. I'm going to take a quick lap just to see if there's any other
Alright.
readings. We necessarily need to keep an eye on it because we're getting the footage, and I'll be watching it once I get it back up because I send that video over to YouTube. It's much easier to watch that way. Here's the story. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence. It's part of his name. We get it all the time. Anyway, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash that she just received. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. On his way into town, there was a coachman that brought him in that set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay here, but somebody was walking by who's lived here for a little while, and he knew the coachman and knew what was about to happen. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from.
Rhode Island, yeah.
Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. So we get RI all the time on there, so I bought a new device. It kind of acts like a Ouija board, but it's electronic and uses EMF, just like the device I'm using. We've had the letters RI show up several times when I've brought up Ralph here in the past.
Where is the device?
In my bag.
Should use it.
It's not always productive.
Oh, okay.
So it's I will probably get something out of that thing once out of every 20 investigations. So it's
Okay.
not very productive at all. But I will tell you, in the past 7 or 8 months that I've had it, we have had the letters RI show up when I'm talking about Ralph.
You don't want to try it?
Okay, it's not here.
Okay. So, well, once we, maybe I'll break it out as we kind of go through this, just so you can see how it actually works. So anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. We're going to go to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from friends of mine, and you'll be safe and good to go. The doctor took him up on the offer, and they became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. He's making his own. Amanda gets wind that he's getting his own money, and she's coming down so they could be married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor, because he whistled all the time. In the 1780s, that's just what men did. So, anyway, I'm going to tell you that every haunted city you're going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. So, this is another reason why I take this story out this year. It's kind of a big cliche. Anyway, the doctor and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So, on the way home from seeing Richard III from Shakespeare, they're arguing over an actress. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph did not. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island. So, you're going to watch the bottom row and see if any letters start to pop up.
Pop up like on the screen.
Yep, so you see how the cursor's moving?
Yep.
Anytime there's an EMF spike, it's going to stop that cursor on the letter and drop it to the bottom row. We look for those anagrams, we look for initials, any words being spelled out for us, that kind of thing. So it's kind of a combination. So it's only just like it just did. So it gave us the letter I. So again, I usually look for them in consecutive order because it takes, if you hit the R first, it has to circle back around to get to the I. So that's where it makes it very significant. It's not going to go R then I real quick. It's going to have to wait to make that circle again. So it's very interesting how this guy works. Not always productive. Like I said, maybe 1 out of 20 I'll get something out of it. A full word being spelled out, so forth and so on. Don't worry, we're going to be playing with other toys later on. So there's going to be, our last stop is kind of our finale. I kind of switched things up a little bit.
Okay.
Anyway, back to Dr. Ladd. So,
They disagreed.
yeah, then he obviously, I told you Ralph has friends around here, so he goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Doctor saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Let's go settle this. Somebody's going to die. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned. The doctor pointed his gun in the air and shot his one shot from his flintlock. Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doctor doesn't die. He fell to the ground. His friends picked him up and took him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. So it's 1786. He refused the medical treatment because he's a doctor, first off, and gunshot wounds are a lot different back then, as you both probably already know. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself. But he failed because he died on November 2nd. Now, we're getting very close to his duel date, which would be an alleged October 23rd. So kind of take that as I'm actually expecting more and more as we get closer to that date, because I'm real big on dates, and that's when we usually find the highest activity for that specific person, if there's relevant dates, birthday, death date, event like a duel, so forth and so on. But every ghost tour that comes down here tells you to listen for the whistles. We are running a video camera, and we're also running a voice recorder. If we're going to get whistles down here, it's going to be on one of these two devices that you and I are using.
We saw on the video camera.
Yeah, it's also recording audio.
Oh, okay.
Now, I will tell you that on your device, this regular spirit box, we have had whistling parts of songs, and then like a commercial for a doctor immediately after. So like, doctor. It'll be very quick, and I've heard it. I've been coming here for 4 years. I don't look for this shit. It just happens. I can't make it up. I wish I could, because I see it all the time. So other terms that will come up here will be like 59, because that's his address where he lived. The word church, obviously we're next to a big giant church of St. Philip's, but he did live on Church Street. So that kind of gives you some clues. Now, if you're going to try this and look for the whistles all on your own, I can't take you all the way through here because I've actually been kicked out of here. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But use your voice recorders from your phones. I know you guys are probably going to be leaving tomorrow. But keep in mind, if you do find a whistle in the background, every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or King Street, they all throw a whistle down the alley, including me. I do it every single morning because we already passed my garage. My office is up here. So that's kind of a thing. Like, we all do it. And even at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm going to the garage, I always throw a whistle down here.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, because I'm going to go through your data once we're done. It takes me a few hours to upload everything and then spot check it all. So I don't get home until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Yep, because I live an hour away. That's why I texted you guys like, hey, we're still on.
Yeah.
So here's how I got kicked out of here. Here's the fun part of the story. This alley didn't go all the way through this way, the way we came in. There was a wall up there, about halfway between us and Cumberland Street. The reason why is because this used to hold the livestock for the city of Charleston. So you can imagine cows and chickens down here. It was actually called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley. So what does that mean, and why am I telling you this? That means the bricks on the other side are older than the ones we're standing on right now. Those bricks down at the end are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, and fingerprint swipes and others. And I used to take my groups through there just to show how far we've come from slavery. I don't care about the diversity of my groups. Like, you're in Charleston, you're going to hear about slavery. So I took my group down there on November 26th, and they're all staring at that brick. I know that kid's not there because I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. I know he's not there, but it's also outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm trying to be respectful. I didn't realize I was out of bounds for tours. We weren't allowed to be down there that late. However, the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter was on the tour that night, and she thought it was great because her dad's getting yelled at. So we moved on. We just went on our merry way. Now, the next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I've already told you I worked for Walmart for a good number of years in upper management. I don't do Thanksgiving. It's crazy. However, the next day I called my partner that I told you recruited me in, and I told him what happened so I can learn from it. And he laughed at me, just like my daughter did, and said, you're only allowed to go down halfway. That's the cutoff point for tours that late at night. So he's like, you got to reroute everybody. It's Black Friday. I'm sold out again. So I told my group that night, I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen there, and I'm a vampire person, not a pirate guy. That's where we're going next. We're talking about pirates. I'm sorry, but you're in Charleston. So before we left, somebody hears the name Ann on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who, just like you started whistling before we came here for the Whistling Doctor. We're going to be looking into the famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe we're going to get something. We go up and around the corner. I tell them what I did know about piracy, which wasn't much at the time because I only had like 6 hours to do some quick reads. Somebody else hears the number 300 on another spirit box. I don't know what it means. I write it down. I do the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. Now, most people give that, yeah, that's really cool shit. I was pissed off. I already told you I'm a writer and have a master's degree in creative writing. So I need facts and data, especially when I'm doing this. Pirate stories come from pirate lore, which was written 100 years after the fact of when they actually happened. So that's my issue with working with pirate stories, is because I have to read more and more to find where all of the commonalities are. Where's the common denominator? Like, how does this work? So everything we're going to be discussing at the next location, minimum of 2 different resources. So again, we are only here to kind of stir shit up with Dr. Ladd. Hopefully you're going to hear things about him from here.
Should we walk?
Oh no, we're not allowed to go down there.
No,
we're going
you're
out that
not
way.
allowed, but we're allowed.
And you got all my gear. That's going to put me on the spotlight, so no. You think that guy didn't remember me from 3 years ago? So we're going to actually go out and around. You can continue recording on your thermal if you want to, because we're just going around the corner. But definitely
He stopped recording on its own, I think.
Okay. Did it stop or did it move?
No, it stopped, yeah.
Okay. Did you get any other letters? I didn't hear it go off.
No.
Okay. See why it's not always productive? I didn't even break out the EMF meter in here.
Yeah, definitely.
How you doing, man? Good. Good. Had a quiet night. All right.
Number 50. I know that's significant.
If you missed the number 9 in there, we have his address. See where I'm going?
Yeah.
It's beeped.
And beeped? That's A.
IA.
Do you remember the name of his fiance?
Yeah.
Amanda.
Amanda, yeah. Anna's the pirate.
We have IA. Oh, wow.
E.
IAE.
Yeah, I'm only liking the A by itself over there. Sector in it, so if a little kid ghost that's close to it, it goes on. So it's just there to attract a child. It's kind of the same principle. Do you find like a different kind of material on the ground? Is that why it looks funny?
Yeah. Because the temperature of the metal is lower.
Probably a whole different temperature than the rest of the ground. But this is what I call a familiar. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? 10 years, small building?
Yep.
Exactly. So the history of Anne actually begins right in the middle of it. So try to follow me on this one. There's a few twists. I'll slow down on those twists to make sure you grab them. But 1708 is where the history begins. A young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you with me so far? The 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was the wife that she kicked her husband out of the damn country by boat? There's no planes yet in 1708. They land here in near here in Georgetown. It's between us and Myrtle Beach. So there's Dad bought a plantation up there, and then Mom died pretty quickly. That means Dad is sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. Now, back home in Ireland, Anne was a badass even back then. They say she killed one of her servants at the age of 7, 8, 9 with a knife to the belly. I can't tell you how many times I've had servant knife belly show up on 3 different communication devices, and the other 2 people don't know what's going on. So it happens all the time. Back to Anne. Fast forward, the building's done in 13, but by 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is pretty stoked about this pirates coming through, simply because she's going to fall in love with one of them, so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. The first guy she falls in love with, and I said first because there's a handful. That's why the story's so damn good. So the first guy is James Bonny. So you can already see where this is going, because Dad did not approve of the filthy pirate, and they ran away to Jamaica to get married, and Anne Cormac became Anne Bonny.
So she fell in love with the pirate, you said?
She did.
Yeah.
James Bonny.
Okay.
Now, when she gets down there, she realizes that this pirate is not the Captain Jack Sparrow type that she was looking for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy and a coward for the British. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love again a few years later. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of for the Disney movies, just so you know who this guy is. Calico Jack. Now, Jack has his own crew. Jack has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of that crew because she wants to be a pirate. You can't put a female on a pirate ship. Do you want to guess why?
To the women.
It's bad luck. Normally, if there's kids on the tour, I don't throw that question out there. Like I usually say, keep it family friendly. But anyway, it's bad luck. So it's just kind of a bad pirate omen, right? Now, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like the guys and look like the guys, you could be part of the guys. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world.
Because she was the daughter of the mistress.
Correct. So she gets it. It's all a man's world, but let's put two and two together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that he let a girl on. So before she starts to show that she's pregnant, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here and come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happens to the child. None of my books and research has ever found it. But she does come back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that he just captured. They're down below deck, all handcuffed to the floor. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew the Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. Her name is...
love.
Yeah. They fall in love.
Good lesbian story.
Her name is Mary Reed, but she went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Again, they're possibly lovers, we don't really know for sure. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take out one measly little pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up with their 1-bullet flintlocks to fight off this fleet of ships, because they don't know how to use cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. So that's obviously not going to work out. 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns, come on. It's not going to go. They're going to get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her bow and captain, Calico Jack, and says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up a lot on our communication devices, just so you know. He's turned it down so you can hear the story. All right, so the judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front of the judge and reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and the judge doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they shouted to the judge because they're claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. But Dad, up here in South Carolina, still has all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home, and she remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84.
84. 4 kids.
Yeah, a lot of 4s.
So Mary got.
Mary, 5 months later, dies. April 21st, I believe, is the date, or April 7th.
In the jail? She's still in jail?
And she died from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. So use your imagination. Most books will tell you it's something simple like fever. I say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? So here's what I left out of the story. I'm not going to I normally assign
and then
questions.
he's not trying to free up Mary?
He didn't know Mary.
Her love? No,
The dad.
what's her name?
Anne?
Anne.
I mean, it's her dad who bailed her out.
Bailed her out and probably forced her to marry her last husband.
Lover.
Yeah.
Her lover.
Too bad.
I left out the names of the parents of Anne. I called them Dad and Mistress, so I didn't tell you what those names were, but yes, I do know what they are, so you can ask about the parents. You can ask about the ship of Calico Jack. I didn't tell you what the name of the ship was, or the city where Anne grew up in Ireland. So those are some of the common questions that we get.
Right.
Everything else is fair game. Ask whatever the hell you want to in this location. This is not a prominent English woman like what we were dealing with before. So, have you heard anything?
I just put
Just
it
turn it
back
back on?
up.
Any letters show up?
R.
Arr. That's bad. Like a really bad pirate joke. Arr.
R.
E-I-A-E-T-U-R.
And when you get a full row
We're
on
on the
there, we're
tour.
going to reset it so it doesn't over.
We're on the
overwrite
tour.
it. I love how we just took it from there. Just keeps working. Get back to the office, and it's either an average or an above average score, because I do score everything. But you wanted to see, like you said that you thought those were painted on there. steal that camera from you.
We're just gonna wear the
Yeah, you're gonna